After playing more of a background role in The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 1, the New Babylon Federation seems as though they will be much more involved in Season 2's story, with the faction already making a big impression. Although Peli Armstrong was a prominent part of the spin-off's first outing, the rest of New Babylon's central characters rarely appeared outside an important scene in Dead City Season 1's finale. We did hear plenty about their marshals and the group's attempt to enforce their laws upon people, but their true goals remained a mystery. Fortunately, the spin-off has changed that by giving them the spotlight this time around while introducing some of their key figures, many of whom have been a great addition to Dead City Season 2's cast. We have also found out more about their intentions, making it easier to understand how they'll fit into the overall narrative. Rather than sitting back and letting the action happen around them, New Babylon has taken its soldiers to Manhattan, where a war is brewing, and the group is quickly becoming one of the most interesting aspects of the season as a result. What we know about the New Babylon Federation's structure and setup. The faction are all about bringing back and enforcing the law, regardless of how extreme their methods are. With New Babylon making their presence known, we have already learned a lot about how they operate. Firstly, they seem to have a core settlement that has spread their influence across multiple communities, including the Bricks, creating the New Babylon Federation. Their structure consists of a more old-school, traditional form of government, with Governor Charlie Bird leading the group, while other members also have prominent roles. Peli Armstrong has the title of Colonel, while Lucia Novaez has the role of Major, resulting in these figures having more authority than regular marshals and civilians. This system may seem like a way of returning to regular civilization, but the laws that they enforce are often abused. Lucia had a man publicly executed for desertion, even though his conscription was forced, showing the faction isn't about creating peace. Instead, they care more about enforcing their beliefs by any means necessary. In some ways, the New Babylon Federation feels like the Walking Dead CRM replacement, as the two communities disguise their extreme methods and inequality behind the idea that they were fighting some noble cause for the greater good. Truthfully though, New Babylon's hierarchy gives power to those in charge and oppresses those below them, with this power continuing to grow as they recruit new communities such as the Bricks. Even if they offer safety and security, it comes in exchange for basic human rights, suggesting New Babylon's setup is extremely flawed in Dead City. Why Maggie's community serves the Walking Dead's New Babylon Federation. New Babylon cut off the Bricks' trading partners to force an alliance. Maggie, Lauren Cohen, and Charlie Bird, Jasmine Walker, from The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2 custom image by Anna Nieves. As Season 2's premiere highlighted, Maggie's community is part of the New Babylon Federation, and the reason that the Bricks serves them is rather simple: they were forced. It's unclear exactly how big New Babylon's influence goes, but given that they are able to go from community to community, demanding soldiers, it's clear they are a fairly big group. However, this alone wasn't enough to force the Bricks into submission, as it was revealed that New Babylon had cut off their trading partners, essentially making Maggie's group accept the Federation's laws despite Maggie voting against this decision. The takeover does set up a bit of a Rick Grimes plot hole, as none of the Walking Dead's main settlements seem to have helped the Bricks despite being under New Babylon's rule for around 2 years. However, it's possible the faction had been fairly peaceful up until their New York mission, hence there being no need for intervention. Overall, it appears as though Maggie's community simply didn't have the numbers to fight against New Babylon or find some sort of counteroffer, eventually leading to Maggie and Ginny officially joining their Manhattan mission, which has already experienced a few problems. The New Babylon Federation's New York mission explained. Despite being disguised as an exploratory mission, New Babylon really wants the Dharma's ethanol. Charlie Bird, Jasmine Walker, and Lucia Novaez, Dastia Polanco, sitting at a candlelit table in The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2. Another shitty lesson saw New Babylon officially begin their New York exploration, and despite suffering some serious hiccups, they did at least make it to the island. On the surface, their goal seemed fairly noble, as Charlie and Peli claimed they were going on an exploratory mission to New York to bring back hope through the historic city. The idea that Manhattan was once all about the arts, food, and commerce makes it the perfect hub for a fresh start, with Peli even claiming it could serve as a bastion for civilization. However, while this all sounds great, it isn't New Babylon's real motivation. They forced people to enlist as soldiers since they were really after the Croat and the Dharma's methane that had been powering parts of Manhattan. While they mentioned to the Bricks that the location had been overrun by barbarians, they didn't mention how powerful Manhattan's factions had become, perhaps because they themselves weren't fully prepared. Inevitably, New Babylon's attempt to catch the Croat by surprise while sailing to the island went poorly, as their ferry was easily attacked, leading to the deaths of several soldiers. How the survivors improvise will be fascinating to watch, but given how stubborn New Babylon is, it seems like the group will continue with their plan to seize control of the methane operation in the city. They may have spent a lot of time planning for this mission, but their failure to listen to Maggie has already caused them major problems, and with Herschel seemingly attached to the Dharma in the Walking Dead spin-off, it looks like New Babylon will have to figure out a new strategy quickly. Is the New Babylon Federation another Walking Dead villain group? The group looks just as evil as the Dharma and the Croats community. A character with blood on his face being held by two members of New Babylon in The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2. Despite portraying themselves as good guys, New Babylon is undoubtedly a new villain group in The Walking Dead. Between forcing the bricks to become their allies, enforcing mandatory conscription, and publicly executing civilians, it's crystal clear that this faction is far from friendly. Even though New Babylon is going against the spin-off's other main antagonists, they are just as bad, considering they don't mind losing soldiers for the so-called greater good. Additionally, individual members of New Babylon possess the sort of traits typically seen in villains, with Major Novayes and Governor Bird being the main culprits. Novayes has happily thrown her authority around, imprisoning Maggie for punching her and sending Herschel with her despite the teenager being innocent. While Bird may not seem as